Hello, good morning. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of Mindful Meditations on art jewelry. My name is Allison Barnett, and it's been a few months since I've been coming to you live as we are in the last phases, I would say, hopefully, of our isolation. I'm coming to you live today from Kahn's studio here in Jacona, New Mexico. Coming from her home in her living room, Claire is sitting with me. Hi, Claire. We have both been inoculated. We both had our shots in the arm, so we're feeling really confident today sitting with one another. But thank you for joining us today, and as you watch, please let us know what you think about our video and our presentation. I've come to you live from Claire's studio 2 or 3 times in the last year, and also from my home when I started doing this series. And as many of you might already know, so much of Claire's work is about pattern and about color and progression, and informed by her years, I'm talking about you, and in design and how it really informs so much of what you do, Claire. And today really is no different. But today we're going to talk about quiet color that you often refer to, and how color doesn't have to always be about vibrant color. Sometimes it's about quiet color. And so the pieces that we're going to present today, it's a curation of quiet color. And we have bracelets and necklaces. And it's really about how the dormant phases of winter are now giving life to a vibrant spring. So my question to you as we start to look at these pieces, and I'll turn the camera onto the table, is how these pieces are different. So as you start to talk about how these pieces are different and the new things that you're thinking about, I'm gonna just turn this now so we can see that.
Okay.
Terrific. So here we are at the table. Claire, what do you want to talk about first?
Well, I think that this year has been very interesting because I've been at home so much more than usual, and I've really been able to watch not only the seasons in their vibrant, strength at their peak, but these funny kinds of months of transitions between them, and the subtlety and the nuances in the environment that happen between, summer and fall, winter, spring. And so these pieces are really about that kind of transition, that beautiful place in between where everything is still very much the quiet colors of winter, and there are little tiny surprises, little budding new life coming. Yeah. And that's so and I use color that way. It's intended to be rich but very quiet with moments of surprise.
Well, you're so good at doing that and letting these opposites really attract one another in the pieces. I know that some of the more current works have been including these Egyptian faience beads.
Yes.
And I'm going to bring the camera. We have 2 pieces. As many of you know, Claire's pieces often find homes very quickly. So there are 2 pieces that remain from this collection, which are these 2. We have a long necklace and a short necklace. So tell us what brought you to using these really desirable faience beads.
Yes, I've always been...
And the history of them.
I've been intrigued by faience, especially ancient Egyptian faience, which is a strange kind of paste material. It's not really clay. It's a mixture of glass and quartz and ash. And these beads are old. They're from the Middle Bronze Age, maybe 2,000 years BCE.
Just going to bring it closer to the camera so people can see the beauty of these beads. They're so subtle, not only in their color, their shape is beautiful. The hole is actually rather large. But
yes.
You've done a beautiful job really isolating that bead in your cord.
Their colors are rich. They range from a white to a beige. There's deep red, dark brown, and then the most well-known color for this material is this gorgeous turquoise.
It's so beautiful. And I love how you have these colors just pulling right off the bead. Is this pattern, which pattern is this that you're exploring?
Well, I think I would call this faux-lent, inspired by the the Belgian painter who did mostly watercolor and very elegant, not really pastel, but soft color combinations. And in this case, I took the color of the bead and extended it onto the cord itself.
Oh, I love how you do that. It's like the color is dripping around
Yes.
the cord.
Yes.
It's so very beautiful. And then on either side, that opposite with this sort of winter white, which
Yes.
really speaks of the time. It speaks of coming out of the winter and coming into spring and the manifestation of light. And I know that these Egyptian faience beads are about light, and which resonates so perfectly with you and your work, because so much of what you do is about light. And even though these beads are unlike, when you're using a gemstone, and you can see how light is reflecting through and on those beads and off those beads, these just have this abundance of natural color and this softness, which is really alluring. They're just organic and really beautiful. And you spoke to me earlier about how you were deliberately making this space between these beads, and that really took a lot of time. You had to actually break a bead in between each of these beads to give the space. And I love how that spacing really gives more impact, to really see these beads in their full splendor.
These beads have very large holes in some cases. The holes vary on each one. They're each one is wonderful to work with because they're so characterful individually. But some of them have very large holes.
Yeah.
And those large holes will just slide right over the beads of the cord as I'm crocheting.
Right.
So I need a stopper bead to keep that from happening, and that stopper bead has to be broken.
Yeah.
So I use these ceramic beads to do that are easily broken.
Easily broken to give that space. This is so beautiful. So this is one of your long necklaces. So
Yes,
it's about
and then
43 inches long, which allows you to wear it long or doubled. And,
Yes.
and the pattern is or wrap it. Well, with this one, we'd really just keep it as a necklace because of the beads. The beads have...
the beads are fragile.
They have a fragility to them. So it's really better, this one, as a necklace.
Not as a bracelet so much.
Yeah.
This one, they're stronger. These are a little different, these beads. They're still very old, about 1500 to 1000 BCE.
Oh, geez. So these
so
are medieval. They're medieval, Bronze
beads.
Age.
Then they're found everywhere. They're ubiquitous in certain sites, in certain areas in Africa and India.
Okay.
And I added a silver bead every once in a while and a turquoise bead. But these are all these different shapes and different materials. Some are glass, some are ceramic.
Oh.
They're all different, and in this necklace I actually made them slightly graduate. So there's an area where they're larger, and then they get smaller as they move around the piece. And I call this pattern Leda, after my mother's weaving. She was a weaver, and this emulates a pattern she might use on the loom.
And this is unusual for you to use varying sizes of beads.
Yes.
I know often you look for a consistency.
Absolutely.
In the size of the beads, so you kind of went out on a limb, which I think the end effect was really strong and beautiful. The beads in a way sort of hug each other as they come around, the big ones alternating with some of the small ones,
right.
and your deliberate placement of these beads. So the pattern on the cord remains, it looks like it's the same throughout this piece.
Yes, this doesn't progress or vary as it moves around the piece. It has the back of the cord is darker, and as it moves up around the cord towards the stone, the beads of the cord get lighter. So there's a little hint of illumination right at the edge of the bead.
Beautiful. And I can see that bronze
subtle.
color. It's so subtle. So this is a shorter necklace, maybe about 23 inches, so it goes over the head.
It goes over the head once, and this one, these are stronger. You can wear it as a bracelet by wrapping it 3 times around your wrist.
Yes. Oh, very beautiful, Claire. So this has been one of the more exciting things that you've been working on in this spring. And this spring is different for you than last spring, in what you were doing. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Just that I'm really interested in this transition between the really beautiful but very subtle color of winter here, and the beginning of color, the buds in the trees, the little baby wild iris coming up. There's little spots of bright white and color happening in the environment that, like this piece here, this piece, so you have this gray, very quiet background, and then these tourmalines, which in some cases have pops of more intense color. And this one, I love too.
That. Oh, this is one of my absolute favorite pieces. Just divine.
This piece is a sfumato pattern. In Italian, that means a gradation. The word derives from the word for smoke, sfumato. And the idea is to create this smooth transition from one color or one value to another, and then emulate that with the beads that are on top. So they go from very pale to a deep, deep pink, almost the color of ruby, although this is all tourmaline.
This is all tourmaline.
It's all watermelon tourmaline.
Oh my gosh.
And then they get light again, and then they go into the green.
Look how it went to green suddenly.
And then it goes back to the light again.
So when you double it, the colors align.
Yes, so when you double it, you can have a piece that emphasizes the green, or that emphasizes the pink, or the place in between. And, you know, if you don't double it, you just get this...
You get this long
thing. And then, of course, you can wear it as a bracelet.
Wear it as a bracelet. Oh, isn't that so beautiful? And that piece, I know, I mean, every piece is sold individually, but when you were making this...
I double,
this chevron... This pair is really delightful together.
The chevron does a similar thing. It's kind of a little snaky, because it has a light underbelly and then it goes dark on the top. And it's a chevron pattern.
And it's divvied up into 4 sections
and
of color?
And it's divvied up into 4 sections of color. So when you double it, you've got a light section and a dark section. Yeah. And that matches with this. So if you wanted to do that, you could. Or then you can move around to the pink side where it's lighter.
I mean, this is, in its richness, it's also so subtle. This is absolutely divine, and I think one of my favorite pieces that you've made. And just the way that those stones come to life, and this manifestation of light, and the relationship between the quiet of the piece without the gems and then the piece with the gems. It's just, I think it's just extraordinary.
Thank you.
Really
very
extraordinary.
Much. Thank you.
So what else, Claire? We have this one piece here that remains from when you did your light on light, and again, you know, it works for this season as well.
Yeah, it's all white and gray with little hints of gold and silver beads, actual sterling beads in there.
Sterling, yeah.
And they come and go. Again, if you double this piece, you can wear it where they are most or not. You know, depending. And
so this is a blanket pattern.
Yes, I call it a blanket pattern. A blanket often means, if you're working in design, a sampler, which is a large blanket-sized sampler of textiles that's kind of a patchwork of all the different textiles.
Okay, if you hold it, I love how you're holding it, because I can really span the piece and show people these different patterns.
Yeah, so it's like they're little sections about 1.5 inches, 2 inches long of each pattern.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. And it almost has sort of a taupe and winter white, silver, and even some gray tones. That's just lovely.
A little bit of beige.
Just lovely. That probably would maybe even...
That would go nicely
pair
with
nicely
this tourmaline
with
guy.
This tourmaline one. Yeah.
That would be pretty.
And again, it's these relationships on this quiet color, just gorgeous. And you can find all of these pieces that we're talking about on our website, patina-gallery.com. So maybe after the video, you can explore them a little bit further. And then there's another one of your favorite pieces, which is this piece that was done with pebbles.
Beach pebbles.
Beach pebbles.
Which are very precious.
And these are a combination of jade, and maybe
jade,
they're jasper. Sometimes there would be moonstone. I don't know if this one has it. Agate. This one, there's a quiet progression from a dark, sort of light green.
And there's also, I added a gray opal in there. So there's the beach pebbles and the opal. That's what this has on it. And as you move through, it goes through these browns, and then the browns of the pebbles get darker and darker until they actually turn very dark chocolate, espresso color, and then dark, dark green to black.
And the cord is moving.
And the cord, in this case, is also transitioning in parallel, tandem with the pebbles. So it's a subtle piece. But you can see that where there's these at the two opposite ends, where you have these sort of beige, honey-colored ones, caramel.
Caramel, yes.
Then that's one kind of color, and then as it gets dark, you can see it changes quite a lot. The cord,
you can see really the difference right there. Just beautiful.
It's a favorite piece.
And then you've got a bracelet that speaks of sort of a similar moment in time.
Yes.
Which is pertinent now.
Yes. Again, this is about, there's a sort of backdrop of very rich, attempt at very rich color with moments that pop in intensity of color. And this also uses beach pebbles. There's jade and jasper and some agate. There's an agate. And then I love the contrast of mixing beach pebbles with fine gem material.
You've got diamonds in there and opal.
Yep, there's sapphires, opal, diamond, aquamarine. There was one aquamarine in here.
I also love how some of these pebbles are drilled so that they're leaning to the side, like these two over here on the side. I love that positioning.
And they're naturally, this shine is completely natural on them. I harvest these at the beach. And
then you have them expertly drilled.
And then I have them drilled by this one man who can do it. I don't know anybody else who can do it.
Yeah, and it has to be done in a certain way that really lets that stone, and the hole really kind of quietly goes away, and you don't really see the hole. These are the nuances of your work that I so love. There are these deliberate attempts to bring out the beauty in the stone, in the pattern, and I love your intention and your deliberateness and your choices and how you make these pieces.
Thank you.
So then we have 3 bracelets on the table. 2 are new. Those 2. Actually, this one's new as well. Let's talk about these pieces.
So this guy. There are 2. It's subtle, but you can see a distinct progression in value from light around to dark, back to light again. And that happens on both bracelets. The bracelets are connected with a ring of 18 karat gold, an oval-shaped ring. You can move the bracelets around so that you can wear them so they match, or you can move them around so that they're opposite.
Okay.
It depends. You just have to wiggle it.
Yeah.
On there I have a line of, again, it progresses from really light to really dark tourmaline. These are little round, about 4 millimeter diameter faceted tourmaline beads.
And then would this be one of your mogul patterns? With the gold?
Yes, it's either mogul, which means to me that you're bringing up emphasis, usually in gold, which this is, to the stone.
To the stone.
But I think this is Alida.
Alida,
again. Yeah. So you wear that as a double bracelet always, like
just that. Beautiful. And then these other 2 are really quiet.
Yep, these are very much early spring. Really quiet, little hits of quiet color coming through the neutralness.
So these are a twist or a spiral pattern?
Exactly. They're the same colors in both, but they're slightly different patterns, kind of variations on a theme. It's one idea, and I did 2 bracelets that are slight variations. They pair really well. You can wear them together.
They pair beautifully. Oh, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. Claire, thank you so much for bringing all this beauty
pleasure.
into our lives every day. I mean, certainly
thank you.
at Patina, we get to, relish in these treasures daily and what you bring to them. And hopefully for all of you out there who are watching today and will be watching in the future, to really, understand the beauty that she brings to these pieces. And if I lift up the camera and I show you, I'm going to kind of look past Claire for a second, you can see what's happening in the landscape that Claire gets to take in every single day. So you can see, those rich reds and the blue of the water and the mountains in the distance with the snow. And so these colors that I'm looking at are really what brought, a rise to the bracelets that are in your hand. I mean,
absolutely.
It's all of those hues, all of those values for this quiet time as we come out of the deep darkness of the winter and come into new days of spring, new days of awakening, new days of new life, hopefully for us all as we come out of our period of a long isolation. And so I'm going to turn the camera, and I want to thank everyone who was watching today. I want to thank Claire. Thank you so much for what you bring to our lives every day. And thank you all who have tuned in to my mindful meditations for the last year. I'll be doing them on and off. There'll be another one coming up probably in the next few weeks. Not at the rate I was doing last year since the gallery is open again, but I'm really glad to share this time with all of you and look forward to doing so in person at the gallery. You can watch the video online. It'll be posted to our website in the coming day. You can also stay tuned with us on social media, Instagram and Facebook, and really appreciate everyone this morning, and I hope everyone's feeling great and looking forward to the spring to come for all of us. Bye.